As a performer, Francis is he's a real pro. I've seen him go on stage and give fantastic performances when I've known he's quite ill. And he's a true professional. The show will go on if it is remotely possible. Because there are a lot of flakes in this business. Not him. And he will give every performance his all. He's a professional. He likes things to be set. He's not the most spontaneous, but he's totally reliable.
Yeah, he's great. I always think he's a very natural guitarist. His solos seem to just flow. You can see his whole body sort of moving. It's like one continuous movement when he's playing a solo, and it's a joy to watch.
I remember looking at Francis because I'm taller than him, and I sort of looked and I'm looking up like that. And he looked about 9 foot tall, and I realised after a couple of minutes that there was actually a serious bit of charisma from a performer, which I still think, you know, he's a very charismatic guy on stage. He's really got a lot of ingredient X. And that's why I suppose, well, that's one of the reasons why the band stayed together as long as it has.
You can sort of conjure up that picture of a Carry-On film, you know, of like Carry-On touring with us all hanging out the buses with our guitars and the cases, and that's kind of how it is a lot of the time, you know. I know the documentary that came out a couple of years ago didn't portray it like that, and that was, I think that was kind of good for all those who saw it. I mean, it portrayed a different side of rock and roll that said it isn't all beer and Skittles, which it ain't, you know. But for the most part, it's not like that, you know. For the most part, it's pretty much fun.
There's nothing like it. It's intangible. You don't know why. But sometimes you think, why is it so good tonight? You go, oh, it's so good.
Nobody gets it every night, but I think on balance we do very well. We enjoy ourselves a great deal more than a great deal of bands. Not every member of the band can have a fantastic night every night. However, if somebody comes off after the gig and says, God, that was absolutely dreadful, another one will say, no, it was great, that was really good, we were kicking. So, in other words, we sort of buoy each other up.
There was some show, everything, it was just the sound was great, you performed well, everyone was spot on, you know, we came off, everyone was really up, and I think there were maybe 2 like that. Say the last night's gig was here, which is very good, and this other gig peaks to here, and it really seems such a difference. Now you've got to get to there again before you think that was okay. So you keep kind of pushing the boundary out, so you want that. So if it was that good every night, it'd become boring. So it's the main thing that keeps you going, this thing. You don't really know what it is. There's a certain amount of insecure little show-off in all of us that makes us go out and do that, I'm sure.
middle of Roll Over, Lay Down, people have often wondered what we talk about. And the last 10 years or so, we talk about food. I say to him, what you got later on? He says, well, beans, I said, I've got this, I've got that, and then we carry on.
We sometimes talk about the sound, you know, how you're getting on. That's sort of an early chat. And then sort of later on in the set, past 10, you know, you're getting pretty hungry. So food comes into it, you know, with what you're having tonight then, beans and hamburgers, I think, you know, and or we start talking about cars, we've seen a new Range Rover, and, you know, things like that. We chat about anything, really, doesn't matter, you know. Have you seen that bird? Have you seen that geezer, you know? Anything. But I think to the audience, I've given it all away now, haven't I? But they often must ask themselves the same sort of question, what are they talking about, you know? So that's it.
Well, we discuss people in the audience, you know, and say, oh, I've got a crap sound tonight, and then, yeah, my guitar's gone off. Yeah. Yeah, you're singing out of tune, you know. Oh, don't, your breath's really dreadful. Well,
Fun.
anything. Yeah, anything, just, it keeps us lively.
We fall out from time to time. It's nothing heavy, it's always over stupid little things about the band. Or about work, you know.
In 40 years, I think we've fallen out. Once in his driveway, where it got to that, didn't go any further.
I may have said to you before, the amount of times we're asked how we're getting on, how our relationship is. I don't know anybody out there that, if I kept asking them every couple of weeks how their relationship was with their wife, you'd start thinking maybe there's something wrong. Because they keep asking you, but we find most duos, if you wish, are like this. I mean, separate buildings, let alone separate countries.
There was another time in a dressing room where we had we were hitting one another with towels. It was vicious. You sod. So, but no, nothing major.
You find most nights, in fact, was it last night? Yeah, last night and the night before. Our rooms are next door to each other. He sits at the front of the bus, I sit at the back of the bus, so we can see each other.
I'm not a different person at all. I've always been down to earth, natural, normal, everyday sort of bloke. I've never changed from that. From my upbringing, really. I was brought up in the Cafs, you know, around the Woking area. Sausage, egg, beans, chips, 2 slices, cup of tea, that kind of thing, you know. And not a lot's changed, really. Whatever kind of stardom, if you like, we've achieved, it hasn't gone to our heads. I mean, you know, we're still... I mean, Francis is much the same. I mean, you know, you still get home and you go down the supermarket, you go over the pub and, you know, you go out with the chaps and have a burn up from time to time, you know. That's him, innit? You know.
I know that people always say that you've changed, you know, you've become different. And it's usually their response to you that is different, how they react. But for some reason, if people have seen you on TV or whatever it is in the newspapers, it's usually TV does it most of all. They can't... and in fact, I'm the same. When I see someone, it's like, wow, shoo, and I bumped into a newsreader outside BBC once. We worked at ITN a few years ago. And he said, I've seen you on telly, you're famous. I said, so, yeah, I've seen you. And we sort of shook hands and went, oh, great, and just kept walking. And I get that with people, so I think you change from that. You realise the effect sometimes you have on people.
Do you go to the supermarket then? Yeah, I love it. I love chemists, supermarkets, ironmongers. I do, I love all that. I could wander around ironmongers, hardware shops, you know, watering cans and all that. I love it.
Why?
It's daft. I don't know. I just like all the things on for sale, you know. I went into a hardware shop just before we came away, and I saw this thing hanging from the ceiling. And I thought, what the? I got it down, and it's called a hot rod, and I bought it. It's 14 quid or something. And of course, you know, it's for tea in hotel rooms. As long as you've got some water and a hot rod, you can make yourself a cup of tea, plug it in, put it in the teacup, boils the water. It's fantastic. And it's so much easier than carting a kettle around with you, you know, because you've got to have your cup of tea. And some hotels, you know, they don't have the tea-making facilities. It's disgraceful. Got to phone down for a cup of tea and it costs you £4, you know, for a cup of tea. It's madness. So, hot rod. Yeah.